27th day of July.
A muggy Tuesday, and we were talking earlier, these football players coming, they've been out there most all summer, but they're not like they're going to be out come August 1st, because that's when the first day of full practice begins for college and high schools, and boy, it is a scorcher out, going to be a scorcher today. Hopefully, and they try, you guys have been through 2-a-days and 3-a-days and things like that, but hopefully they will practice a lot at night. You would think they would, wouldn't you?
I've always thought it makes sense to practice in the cool weather, because I would think you'd get more done. When it's so hot, like a sauna, your players are really just trying to survive. So teams that have these indoor practice facilities that are air conditioned, to me it makes more sense to let them practice and when it's 110 degree heat index, take them inside.
This is another real big indication that Troy University needs an indoor practice facility. Charles Henderson had one, believe it or not, but the university, probably the next big issue will be build a indoor facility.
Well, the next project is improving the baseball stadium, right?
Yeah, it looks like it right now, but they've got the plans already out. But
y'all remember what happened 25 years ago today?
Mm-mm.
When they had the Olympic bombing in Atlanta.
Oh yeah.
One lady was killed, Alice Hawthorne of Albany, Georgia. She and her daughter were there. There were 111 people injured.
Wow.
There was a Turkish cameraman who died of a heart attack running to the scene to get pictures. But if you remember, Richard Jewell was the guy who alerted, he was a security guy. He alerted everyone. They later tried to pin it on him. He went through a lot.
Yeah.
Later, Clint Eastwood, had a movie about the Richard Jewell story, but that was 25 years ago. They had the bombing in Atlanta, and the other major Olympic tragedy they had was years before that. Do you remember that?
What, 1972.
1972 in Munich.
Munich Games, when the Palestinian terrorists killed more than that Israeli athletes.
Olympians, yeah. But before we leave the Atlanta bombing, Mike Amos, who will be on our show in just a few moments, he was there. He was working, and he was not but just a few hundred feet from the bombing site.
Well, another great story that I read. There is a Troy graduate who's won his 3rd gold medal in skeet shooting. He was born in Florida, Port Charlotte, Florida. He grew up in Eatonton, Georgia, graduated from Gatewood High School, received his business management degree from Troy University in 2014. His name is Vincent Hancock.
Did he receive his degree from the Troy campus?
I'm not sure if he did that or online. I couldn't find that information, but he's a U.S. Army veteran, was in the marksmanship.
How
unit.
old a guy is he?
He's 30, let's see, he is 36 or 37 years old. He's the son of Craig and Susan Hancock. He's married to Rebecca. They've got 2 daughters, Bailey and Brenlin. His father, what inspired him, his father was a competitive shooter, but he won his first world championship, when he was 16 years old.
Well, I'm going to say this, and I could be wrong, but I believe that is Troy University's first Olympian.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's won 3 gold medals. He won in Beijing, and then he won again in London, and then now he's won in Tokyo.
Oh, boy.
And, he's got 2 daughters, so shotgun. Remember that.
He's won gold medals in skeet at 3 different Olympics?
First one to do it in skeet.
Wow, that is amazing.
His name again is Vincent Hancock.
I would think we'd see a profile of Mr. Hancock in the next Troy Alumni magazine.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he and his family live in Fort Worth, Texas, and His goal is to open up a successful shooting academy.
Yeah, I will
If
bet you.
he can't do it, who can?
I will bet you that young man, that gentleman will be honored at one football game this year. What do you think?
I hope
That'd be
so.
a good thing. So he's 5'8", 175 pounds. I pulled this off of Reddit on Alabama.com, so I kind of searched him through the search engine and popped up some other stuff.
I bet he could kill some birds on the dove shoot.
Hey, would you like to go bird hunting? Yeah, you're right. But now he wasn't shooting skeet though. He was shooting stationary target.
No, it was skeet.
Oh, it's skeet.
Yeah, he missed. He had 60 discs.
Let me tell you this.
Missed only one.
I'm going to bring this guy on our show. It become Herman Bubba Youngblood, a guy I graduated with from high school, was the captain of the United States Air Force skeet team.
Wow.
And he was a very good skeet shooter himself, and I'm going to get him to come on the show. He lives in Eufaula, and I would love to.
Let me ask you this.
You
Where
remember
can
Tom Ray from Luverne? Tom Ray from Luverne, Dr. Ray's son.
Yeah.
Tom
Oh, yeah.
was in the Alabama Army National Guard. He was a super expert shooter, and he could lower his heart rate, and he was a
Guten
phenomenal
Morgen.
competitive marksman shooter.
Mike Amos about to appear at the top of your screen.
Let me ask y'all a question. Where is there anywhere in Troy, in Pike County, where you can shoot skeet?
No,
I think
And then what in Union
maybe
Springs?
some well-off people.
yeah, I would want to think Jason's got a skeet shoot, but I'm not sure.
I think Jason, maybe, and a friend of ours out near Banks has got some skeet he can shoot.
Yeah.
So private owners have it, but there's no place the public can go and shoot skeet.
And I'm not sure that Jason's got it, but he's got everything else. I was thinking, he brought.
There's a place in Montgomery that has what they call shooting clays. I guess that's skeet or close to it.
Well, let me tell you.
And they have a little course where they're like an 18-hole course, and you go and shoot. And it's real popular for fundraisers with groups. You know, they do it like golf scrambles. You know, they invite people and you have a day shooting the sporting clays.
I'll see one that says,
I'll tell you where one of the finest skeet shooting facilities in the country is down near Headland, right off Highway 4. What is it? What's the highway going south? 459, 451, or so that highway. And they have a first-class skeet facility there.
Dr. Thomas, the lawyer. Who's the lawyer?
Yeah, that's right.
His son is on Alabama shooting team.
Jim?
Jim, the lawyer. His son attends University of Alabama. And he's on Alabama's.
If somebody will call this morning and let us know something about that facility, because I know it is a.
Let me Google that.
Everybody tells me that in Headland, Alabama, there is a first-class.
Well, the one in Montgomery seems to be real popular. It's going towards the prison, like you're going to the Indian tribe gambling casino. That prison would be on your right,
Oh, yeah,
and then
that's
off somewhere to the left, I think, is where that sporting clay.
I know where that prison is. Ladies and gentlemen, on
This is great news before football season out of UAB. It says more than 900 people are in Alabama hospitals because of COVID right now. UAB expert, COVID now a wildfire in Alabama, urges everyone to wear masks. Can't believe we're about to deal with this again right before football season.
Huntsville is mandating masks this fall for anybody ages 2 and up. Huntsville City Schools. Enterprise City Schools have canceled open house for the middle schools and junior high and high schools because of the rapid COVID
The surge
cases,
in
the
Delta variant.
It wouldn't surprise me that your larger school systems will start it and everybody will follow suit. So,
well, Governor DeSantis said that he's not going to have any Florida school kids wear masks. So we're not going to have to worry about it down here, don't worry.
Yeah.
I'm working on a story right now about a study that came out in the UK that showed the number of children who have died of COVID in the first 12 months of the pandemic. it was 25 in the whole nation of 65 million people. But then they broke it down by people that had serious chronic medical conditions and what they called life-altering medical conditions, a lot of neurological illnesses of children. If you do that, of those 25 deaths, 19 of those children had a serious pre-existing condition. So that means that in the entire United Kingdom, only 6 healthy children under 18 died of COVID. And they say there's 12 million of kids in that age bracket. So I worked the math, and they did in the study too. The odds a healthy kid that doesn't have one of these pre-existing serious conditions would die from COVID are 1 in 2 million. So I mean, so there is this confirm. I always knew that we all knew that the risk to children was very, very small, but I did not know that it was that small, 1 in 2 million small.
The Department of Veteran Affairs, the Veteran Affairs for the United States of America is going to mandate that all employees have the COVID, have the vaccine of some form or fashion. I read that yesterday, so it's coming that they're mandating for their employees to be vaccinated.
I just did.
As it works with, if you work for Veterans Affairs and all the hospitals.
I'm working on this story on this topic because the study didn't get enough attention. This is great news for parents and grandparents who are worried about their children. I mean, the decimal point on your fatality rate, mortality rate of 1 in 2 million, it works out to 0.0001. So that's 0.04 decimal points. Is you got to use 4 decimal points to get to a death. If you use 3 decimal points, the mortality odds would be 0.000. But that, and then I calculated, you know, you hear about all these myocarditis cases with the vaccine. Some people say that in Israel, which is the most heavily vaccinated country in the world, 1 in 3,000 to 1 in 6,000 people who have been vaccinated, especially young people, are developing myocarditis. So, and then myocarditis is particularly high in young males, 12 to 24. These are college athletes. Now, think about this irony. So that they are making all the college athletes get a vaccine where it looks like, especially among young males, you might have a 1 in 3,000 odds chance of getting myocarditis. Certainly your risks are going up 38 to 50-fold from getting the vaccine. So then you juxtapose that with, you know, my son's getting the 1 in 3,000 odds chance of getting myocarditis, which is an inflammation of the heart, which gets people hospitalized and can kill them. And you compare that to the odds I just gave you of 1 in 2 million of a young person dying from COVID. I don't get where if you got a 1 in 2 million chance of not dying.
Pretty good odds.
I would not get a vaccine where I'm going to get 1 in 3,000 chance of getting myocarditis, given that I have a 1 in 2 million chance of dying from COVID.
I don't want to promote not taking the shot. We need to take the shot, ladies and gentlemen. On a sad note this morning, ladies and gentlemen, and I mean a sad note, Jimmy Copeland, Troy Cable's own Jimmy Copeland, for several years, many years, has died. And his arrangements for Jimmy will be made fairly soon. But Jimmy Copeland was instrumental in a lot of good things that have happened to Troy Cable over the last few years. He was, they call him, you know, he was a guy that was involved in more or less every aspect of Troy Cable, and especially in the political part of it, you know, and those type things. He
getting
was
grants,
getting grants and other things that have been very positive note for Troy Cable, and of course Jimmy, friends of all of ours, here at Troy Cable, we deeply are going to miss him. And
he was Force's commanding officer of his National Guard unit, wasn't he, Force?
Right.
Exactly.
We deployed to Saudi Arabia in September of 1990, and Jimmy was a captain at the time, and later became major. But he was our commanding officer of about 17 guys that deployed to Saudi Arabia, 13 locally. Yeah. But Jimmy, I just wanted to.
But I'll just say
wish
this.
Give our best to Martha and the family.
He was, a lot of people called him, he's our political man, and of course he did, legislation has a lot to do with companies like Troy Cable, and he was right in the middle of all of it. And he provided a tremendous effort to enhance the Troy Cable, and had a lot to do with its growth.
I want to mention this too. About a week ago, I had lunch with Sandy Stevens and Martha Copeland. Sandy lost her husband Bill after we got back from Saudi Arabia, and so did Kay Stinson lost Jim. And of course I called Kay and she couldn't make it, but we had lunch at the Half Shell. And I asked her, how did they meet? How did they actually get together? Mm-hmm. And they were both working at Stanton's, Martha and Jimmy were. And there's a group of people, and I think one of the McPhersons were involved in matchmaking. And that's where Jimmy and Martha kind of met. And
we don't talk enough about the rest of the story. Stanton's.
And so,
well, I want to build on what Mike was saying about the important work that Major Copeland did with Troy Cable. It's Troy Cable, as I point out in my article on Mike in the Troy Life magazine, it started off as a little small town cable operation competing with one of the big boys. But now I think it's in 12 counties, and this is well known for internet cable as it is for TV cable. But to lay all of that underground cable to let people in rural areas get the internet at their business or home costs a ton of money. I don't know, but then Jimmy must have been instrumental in getting the funding that has allowed Troy Cable to, get into all these homes and businesses throughout this whole region.
I would like to actually correct part of that that you reported in the Troy Life magazine. There were two partners. And of course, I don't know how much involvement they were in, but Nick Sabera and Charlie Noneman both have stock in Troy Cable.
I'm glad you
during that time that
he restarted
Harold restarted it and got it going, and of course was
I felt bad about that. So I sent Nick 2 bottles of Italian wine to make up for it.
Oh, did you really?
Well, I just never heard that. They kept it low on the low side.
But of course, very good friends with Charlie Noneman and Nick Sabera, and of course they were instrumental in helping Harold build that.
Who were the first ones? I know my Uncle Bill was one of the first shareholders in the first incarnation.
That was on down the line, on earlier, I believe.
Yeah. There were about 5 that did it with Harold. Yeah. I'm sorry, I thought he did it completely on his own.
The innovator,
Nick and Mr. Noneman, I apologize.
Yeah. Well, let's just say this: the innovator, the high-tech innovator, was Harold Freeman, and we appreciated.
He was certainly the main force.
Yeah, no question about it. Of course, Jimmy.
I tell you what, the Nonemans need to open a express oil change down here off 30A on 98.
Yeah.
And they would make millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah, I believe that.
We have no express oil change. I have to drive all the way to Panama City Beach at least 3 40 miles, and then like another 35 minutes to Destin just to get an oil change.
Well, just yesterday alone, I pulled into their facility on Highway 231, and I got the whole works, and for $49, I got all kinds of work.
Good morning. You're on Today in L.A.
Hey, Nick Severi here.
Hey, we're just your ears burning.
Yeah, I'm glad you called.
The reason I'm calling, I wanted to thank young Mike for the package that John Reeves delivered last week.
Well,
I can do that anytime you need samples. I got plenty of that, Mr. Sever. No problem.
Nick,
210 Emerald Drive, Forest Lee.
But I did want to thank you. We already finished one of them, and very good, very good.
you know, I mentioned that something we overlooked, during that recent publication of Troy Life was that you and Charlie Noneman had an interest in Troy Cable back then.
Yeah, the second Troy Cable company that developed, I guess in the 80s, sometime early 80s. Because Harold was, of course, the originator of that and the technical man, and Charlie and I were just investors in it.
Yeah, that was a very good investment. You know, Harold, and of course, Harold was, you were both very close friends with Harold.
Right.
You had to worry about Harold because you ride down the road and you see his truck, and then you look up and he's 20 feet high on top of a pole fixing
right.
Troy Cable or giving somebody cable service. You know, he did it all. He was hands-on, if anybody's ever been a hands-on guy.
That's absolutely correct. Absolutely true.
Mick,
anyway, I just wanted to thank young Mike, and I appreciate that. And y'all have a good day.
Nick, let me throw one thing in. Jimmy Copeland, we lost him last night, and of course, our prayers and our thoughts go out to his family. He was a tremendous asset to Troy Cable, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely, no question about that. He was a go-getter and got the company a lot of funding for us. Really did in the earlier years.
And of course, fiber optic cable is all over Central and South Alabama, and it's mainly because of your what Harold did and what Jimmy and the rest of those guys did for Troy Cable.
Right. I've got to have a hats off to Bobby Bright when he was our congressman. He worked with Jimmy Copeland and others in securing that funding back some years ago. And of course, everybody thinks it was just a gift. It was not. It had to be repaid, but under very, very favorable terms. And we couldn't. It could not have been done without that funding from Bobby Bright when he was our congressman, and the work of Jimmy Copeland.
Yeah, that is correct. And Nick, always my friend, and I know you watch our show every morning, and I wish you'd call in more. We enjoy talking to you.
I'm in the midst of shaving right now.
I know. Hey, look. Here we go, Nick. Look.
I'm just kidding you. I'm sitting at the kitchen table drinking coffee.
I tell you what, we love you, buddy.
We do too, and good to see you remaining in such good health, Mike.
Well, I appreciate that. Y'all just bear with me. I hope I can get better.
Oh yeah, you're getting there. You're getting there. All right, good talking to you guys.
Thank you, Nick.
Bye.
Appreciate it.
Nick.
Thanks, Nick.
Nick Severa, of course, handles the legal work for Troy Cable and is a part owner of Troy Cable. Hope that you're having a good day out there today. Brought to you by Bird Drugs on the corner. And let me tell you, I had cracked eggs at Bird's. They have the eggs in the carton, but then they have the fresh cracked eggs. And I said, give me 2 cracked eggs with hot grits, bacon, delicious bacon, and good hard toast. And make sure you say hard toast. The worst thing in the world is to get toast in this bread. There's a difference. And of course, that breakfast you can get at Bird Drugs every day. And
Yum.
How's Joe doing? Joe had the same surgery you
Joe's
had.
well.
Is it
Joe-
successful for him?
Joe has done
He's there.
very well, no question about it. And I've always said this, and all of you folks out there can hear it. Joe Watson's one of the finest people I know. He is a great person and a great citizen of Troy.
I'm working on have done an interview with Joe and Evelyn that I want to do a feature story on Troy Cable about Bird Drugs. It's on the back burner for now, but man, I enjoyed visiting with him and hearing about the early days and how he became the owner and co-owner and pharmacist of Bird Drugs when he was only about 24 years old.
I think I'm right by saying this. Mr. Bird, Mr. Marvin Bird, took ownership in 1940 of Bird Drugs, and it's been owned by the family ever since. Of course, only two pharmacists actually were involved with the tremendous growth. Is Joe Watson and of course Mr. Marvin Bird.
He's been a pharmacist for over 50 years.
Mr. Marvin Bird lived in a beautiful home on North 3 Knot Street. I don't know if you remember this or not. It's where the Pi Kappa Phi house used to be. Do you know that fraternity house?
That was their house?
Yeah, it was their house, and that big old lot and everything. They could play ball out there. And I remember that house burned down by accident. And those lines, those big old lines, they had two big lines out front. And somehow somebody ran off of those lines, one of those lines. It's not funny because it was a very important part of that architecture.
I think the SAEs have lions fronting their fraternity house.
Yeah, but they came up with it a few years back, and they finally found that line, and I think it was. I don't know. I think maybe returned to the owner.
I think the SAEs in Alabama, as a common recurring prank, people will go and paint the lions.
Oh
boy, that's Mother Muse. That's where SAE was founded up there.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations to Jonathan Allen, the former Alabama great. Just got a $72 million contract extension. So he was a great player at Alabama and had a good career in the pros for the Washington. What is Washington's name now? I don't even know.
They're just Washington right now.
The Washington football team.
They're just Washington. Hate to hear this news. A guy named Jay Hardy left Auburn's program after one season, a 4-star defensive lineman out of Chattanooga, 6'4", 299. Jay Hardy transfers to Liberty.
Oh, boy.
Troy not get on a guy like that.
Oh, gosh, you're right. I think they need to look up and see if there's any cash. You're right. I don't see how you can leave Auburn for Liberty.
299 and going to Liberty, man. Yeah. I wish Troy would have got a guy like that.
Okay, let me, talking football, let me imagine this. You're a head football coach at McGill-Tulane High School. Yesterday,
he was like a former college coach, wasn't he?
Well, he's the head coach. Norman Joseph is the head coach at McGill-Tulane High School. Last week, you have team pictures. You have a camp that you attend. Took a senior trip Friday. And yesterday, you get a phone call saying your starting quarterback is transferring to a rival school within your area, within your region. McGill-Tulane, Freddie Davis, the school's starting quarterback from McGill-Tulane, has transferred to Blunt.
Oh,
how would you like to have that news as a head football coach?
Oh, God.
And his statement was, we've got other players on the cupboard, we'll be fine. In other words, when that game is played.
Yeah. The quarterback at South Alabama is a McGill-Tulane graduate, isn't he?
There.
Mike, do you know?
At South Alabama?
Yeah, the quarterback at South Alabama is so good.
The quarterback at South Alabama is Jay Bentley. He played at Opelika.
Oh, no, wait a minute. All right, that was Bentley. He's the one that transferred from, what was it?
Well, he's the one that graduated a year early and went to South Carolina. He played for Brian Blackman at Opelika.
Okay.
So he went from
that's
South Carolina to what, Utah, and now South
Yeah,
Alabama?
started at Utah, and then he ended up going to South, and is now already been named a starter.
Oh boy.
I didn't mean to get off the railroad track, but Landon Dickerson signed his contract yesterday with the Philadelphia Eagles. It was 4 years, $8.66 million with a $3.66 million signing bonus. But Jonathan Allen, his signing bonus was $30 million.
But you know, it tickles me that
I'm
these
glad
big old
that
he's
linemen
got
are finally getting paid. For what
Jonathan
they
Allen deserved it. He is a first-class player and citizen. He's a great leader at Alabama. But what do they say about where do you get the big bucks? It's the second contract, and that is Jonathan Allen's second contract. That's where you become set for life. It's the second contract.
No question about it. Of course.
So what do y'all think of this? Birmingham getting a G League team, which is like the AAA version of the NBA. It's going to be an affiliate of the New Orleans Pelicans. They'll play at the new Legacy Arena, and they'll just play in the lower bowl. That's where the tickets will be, which is still 7,600 seats. A lot of people don't realize Legacy Arena holds 17,000. Would y'all want to go to Birmingham and watch these guys that are young, some of them out of high school, have the opportunity to go to the G League now? Would y'all want to go up there and watch like minor league basketball?
No, sirree.
Well, their nickname is the Squadron, isn't that correct? Aren't they called the Squadron?
Birmingham Squadron.
So Highland Home Squadron.
Yeah.
The
Well, I tell you
I,
what.
I would be interested. It'd be a really high level of talent.
Yeah.
If I lived in Birmingham and had a couple hours to kill, I might go sit in and watch a game if they didn't charge me.
Yeah. Hey, how far is this from the bar, Mike? Is it will the bar be set up?
This is right next. Legacy Arena is right next to the Sheridan Hotel, and right next to the new UAB football stadium.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
They already built the entertainment district down there.
You know, it is harder
It's called Uptown.
It's harder
Yes,
to make an NBA roster than ever for Americans because there's so many international players now. I mean, what would you guess the percentage of international players on the NBA rosters is? Probably 15, 20%?
I'd say at least 3 a team.
Yeah.
You know, I want to mention something. You know, it was the former mayor of Montgomery got into some problems and trouble, and actually is I don't know if he's still in jail or not. But the former mayor, what's his name?
Bobby Bright?
No, of Birmingham.
Oh yeah.
Harrington?
You're talking about Larry Langford.
All right, Larry Langford. Well, let me just say this: Larry Langford is now the hero of Birmingham. Let me tell you this: it was his foresight and his vision that got all this done in Birmingham, Mike. You go back.
Well, he used to have some legendary calls with Bomb. He'd go in live in the studio.
Yeah, I tell you what, he was.
And he would take calls. It was epic radio, to say the least.
That's right. And he would. Excuse me.
I'm sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
No, I just want to say that it was his vision that for all this to happen, and doggone it, it's happened. And plaudits go out to Larry Langford.
Well, Top Golf is. I'd like to go do that, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It'd be teeing it off. We'll ride up there. Me and you and Rice will ride up there and hit some golf balls.
Hey,
have you seen that facility?
Mm-hmm.
See, it's a drive-in facility. How's it work, Mike? You've been there.
Well, you got all these different targets you're hitting, and then they have a full bar. You have a cocktail waitress. You have food. I mean, it's just like a kind of a fun place to go on a date night, or just college kids go. I mean, it's a lot of fun. They have them out in Vegas too.
Let me ask this now: do you get prizes for if you hit something or what?
I mean, I guess maybe you can with like the actual people you're with.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you have wagers on certain things.
Oh well, maybe so.
I've got the answer to Bill's question,
What did I ask?
and this is international players in the NBA.
No.
Those players born outside the United States in 2020, 21.8% of the NBA players are classified as international players.
So that's
21.8.
probably
Say
20 years.
22%.
20 years ago, that would have been 0%, pretty much. So that's 21% of the roster spots that used to be available to domestic kids that aren't anymore.
Yeah, about 22.
I wonder what Major League Baseball is.
I'll find out.
Let's take a guess. I was close. I said at least 15%, so it was 21%. I want to say Major League Baseball rosters. It is 50% international.
I'm gonna say 44. Let's see.
You know, I never paid attention to the Major League Baseball draft, but did Mays White get drafted? Did he go in one of the later rounds or no?
I haven't heard of it.
Lamar's.
I don't know, but I wouldn't doubt it.
I haven't heard. If he had, you'd have known it. I don't think he has.
We would have heard it.
Well,
you know, he didn't have the year he was hoping for at the plate. So I'm sure he'll bounce back though.
You know, Mike, just a few years ago, Troy had a great hitter from right here in our town, and
Joey Dennison.
Joey Dennison. And one of the I asked somebody why in the world didn't he get drafted, because he had I think he had as many hits as anybody in college baseball, and it turns out that they said he was too old, that he was 23 years old, and they wanted 19 and 20-year-olds. Can you believe that?
Yeah,
wow.
terrible.
This is major breaking news at the Olympics. Simone Biles out of team final. USAG cites medical issues. You're talking about the greatest gymnast of all time is now out of the Olympics.
Oh no! What happened to her?
Superstar Simone Biles is out of the team finals at Tokyo Olympics. USA Gymnastics said in a statement that Biles withdrew because of a medical issue and will be assessed daily.
Oh boy!
Wow.
Boy,
that's huge. That's huge, because it was her and the rest of the gymnasts. She was right here. And
her percentage points were so much higher than anybody else. It was like a guaranteed gold medal.
But I hate that for her. And there are other events that she can be in, though, isn't it?
No, she's out.
She's out completely.
She's out.
Boy, that is huge news.
She's got medical issues. She couldn't compete as an individual or team.
I mean, there's been a lot of build-up to her being in the Olympics, and then there's a lot of issues with the fairness of her scores compared to other gymnasts, that they feel like she's been being treated unfairly, considering she can do so many more things that other gymnasts can't do. So they kind of grade everybody on the same level, which is really kind of unfair to her as far as their technique and how difficult their routines are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So here's your updated medal count. USA has 21, China 20, host Japan has 17.
Wow.
So USA has 9 golds, Japan has 9, China has 8. U.S. also has 8 bronze. So the U.S. is currently leading. Also, the gold medal softball game is going on right now between the United States softball team against Japan.
Okay, that's going to be
Is there a score?
Right now, Japan's up 2-0.
Oh boy! Oh gosh!
Well, we talked about it before you called, Michael. Vincent Hancock, a Troy University graduate, won his 3rd gold medal in skeet shooting. He's from Eaton.
Is there anybody we can call from Troy University to find out if he's got to be the only person I've ever known that has won a gold medal that's a Troy alumnus?
I think
anybody else?
As far as I can remember, I can't remember.
I know that Nick Costes was the first finisher on the American marathon team in the 52 games, I think.
Right.
He didn't medal. I think he finished in the 20s, top 25.
He was the first American to finish, though. I think it was.
I had him for kinesiology.
Yeah. Of course, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back with more of Today in LA.
This is my chart from Southeast Health.
And you're going to want to make it yours.
Not because it's free,
but because it's priceless.
Because with my chart, you can schedule appointments online with your provider.
You can email your provider and get answers. Get test results.
refill prescriptions,
and manage your family's health care. You know how you all want health care to be easier?
But no one seems to listen?
Well, someone did.
Southeast Health.
To get your free My Chart app,
visit your app store or go to southeasthealth.org.
Are you ready?
August 20th.
Troy Cable Security makes it easy to stay aware and stay in control of your home wherever you are. User-friendly interface allows easy navigation for lights, locks thermostat, video and garage doors. Never worry about leaving your garage door open or the front door unlocked. Your mobile app can send alerts to your phone for alarm and no alarm events. Know when your children arrive home from school with video response. Make sure your home is powered by Troy Cable Security for ultimate access, awareness, and protection.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
When it comes to surgery, precision is perfection. The very latest technology available ensures the best possible outcome. The Mako Robotic Arm-Assisted Surgery System is now available at Troy Regional Medical Center. Skilled orthopedic surgeon Dr. Robert L. Liljeberg and his team provide patients with faster recovery and better movement after a knee replacement surgery. When accuracy matters, you deserve the very best. Troy Regional Medical Center.
Oh, if he did good. 17 years.
Back Driving Show, ladies and gentlemen. We get a few chuckles in between breaks. And, of course, we want to mention that this show is brought to you by Troy Bank and Trust Company. Remember, Troy Bank and Trust Company is the only bank you'll ever need. And also by Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram Trucks. Right here in Troy is selling cars like you would not believe. Remember, nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody.
We were talking about...
Sorry to all my fans out there today. Apparently Zoom's not working. They got computer issues, so I'm not going to be able to be on camera today.
Well, you got a voice for radio or TV.
I know. The problem is that when you do hair and makeup, you won't be able to see.
You see what I did? I put a hat on. I got to go see Raymond.
I got to go
I saw
too.
Raymond yesterday. He did a real good
Let me say this.
It seems like yesterday you just had it all cut off. It sure came back in a hurry.
Well,
I may get it done again.
Yeah, I know
Just
it.
don't tell Jody.
Well, let me say this. I've gone way further than I've ever gone without a haircut. I've got I don't know how I'm getting by with it. I'm just slicking it back, I reckon. But I want to say good hello to Jason and all the Jason Gregory and all the great people at Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram Trucks. And of course, Jason has done so many things to help different organizations. And right now they're working on a park project for the Pike Liberal Arts School, and he's just done so many things to help different organizations move forward in their growth.
Hey, I'm curious, Bryce. What time do your kids have to be at kindergarten at school, like in Troy?
I think we take them at 7:30. I don't take.
The thing down here. It's gonna like be devastated in my household. Like my daughter's already crying about it because like we're used to taking them to preschool, like around 8:30 they get there. They have to be in their class by 7:30, and then you have to pick them up by 2:15.
Yeah,
that just seems insane.
Mm-hmm.
I think they start here around 10 minutes till 8 at the elementary school, and classes start around 8 o'clock.
So that fits with us leaving around 7:30. Well, they leave earlier because Carrie has to be at school as a teacher early. And so she drops off our kids. They're probably some of the earliest people at school. Mm-hmm. And then she makes it just in the nick of the time when she's supposed to be there at Charles Simpson High School.
Typically at 7 o'clock, the gym is open at the elementary school. They can come in the front door. But the back doors usually open up around 7, and then they have to congregate in the gym and then disperse. That's how it used to be. But then classes start around 8 o'clock at the elementary school.
You know, I wonder how this is going to work out. Last year, Jack went to pre-K, but he went to extended day, and so he stayed there until 5 o'clock every afternoon.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's a long day.
Yeah, well, that was good for me because I didn't have to take care of a little boy, and I could keep working. But Maggie I have to pick her up at about 2:30. I mean, school lets out, I guess, at about 2:50. But Jack will be in kindergarten this year, so I'm wondering does he still get to go to that extended day?
They have extended day for the kids who are in that Hank Jones building, and then they have another extended day for the older kids in the big building. And then, but if they ride together, they will get those kids across the street with their sibling for dismissal.
Do you gotta pay for that extended day?
I think so. But
Boo.
don't quote me on that. I believe you do. But
the conversations of Texas and OU moving to the SEC are ramping up. Everybody thinks now it's almost a done deal. It's going to be interesting to see when this actually happens, though. I think it's not maybe possibly going to happen until 2025. Well, you're talking about some bad blood in sports for 2 or 3 years until they move over to the SEC. It's going to be interesting to see how all that.
I've already decided I don't like it. I know they're going to make more money, but I don't care. It's going to make it. More teams are going to have more losses. It's going to be much harder to win that SEC championship, which is a big deal to win the conference championship. I mean,
I think they're going to have to settle all the dust and all the conferences, and then in 2025 or whatever, this is how it's going to be in college football. This is where your conference will be. Conference. This is the tiers that we'll have in college football. But I don't think they can settle the SEC until they settle everything else. Pac-10, Big 12,
it'll
Big
work
10,
out.
Big
The dominoes
East.
will start falling.
And if they already,
if UAB moves up to the American Conference, I would imagine South Alabama will jump Troy and go to Conference USA. I think they'd want the Mobile market way before the Troy market.
Oh yeah, I would think so. But we got our fingers crossed right there.
Hypothesis. Years ago, should have Troy moved their main campus to Dothan to allow for a better market? That's just a thought.
It was talked about, I think, or people were worried about it. Let's put it that way. I don't know how serious.
Well, the chairman of the board was from Dothan, and but thank goodness. I know exactly, and and of course that's why we started building all these new facilities.
You couldn't leave.
Hey, we can't move there because we just built that.
We're stuck now.
Yep, good move. Thank you, Mike.
I'm proud of where Troy is. I was looking at some schedules, Mike, on down the line, and I've got another little upset special for you.
All right.
Well, of course, Indiana and Cincinnati, the third week in September, and that's one I'm thinking.
Well, Cincinnati will be favored, so it won't be an upset.
You think they will be?
Huge, yeah.
Indiana's going to be pretty good, though. And then Appalachian State will take on East Carolina. I was just looking at that, and then the big game is September 11th, where Appalachian State plays South Carolina, and the third week of that is Troy. Is Troy going up against South Carolina?
I bet the Appalachian State South Carolina line will be South Carolina favored by 4. I mean, it'll be close.
And
yeah, we're almost a month away from college football starting. The first games will be on August 28th. You'll have UTEP against New Mexico State in the Lose-a-Lose Town Bowl. You'll have UConn against Fresno State, Southern Utah against San Jose State. The game of the day by far will be Nebraska against Illinois. And then later in the day, you'll have a pretty good game later in the day, Hawaii at UCLA.
Yeah. Of course,
that's on August 28th. UAB and Jacksonville State will not be until September the 1st on a Wednesday night.
Oh, yeah, I knew that's one of Johnny Williams' games. And he's got I tell you what, Johnny Williams has helped Jacksonville State out on some of their scheduling. You know,
Jacksonville State, UAB, and Crimson Bowl.
Yep, I'm gonna go see that. It's gonna be fun on a Wednesday
I
night.
saw where Big Dave caught a catfish on Facebook. David Williams, Big David Williams.
Oh, David did.
Yeah, he was a monster for us at middle school.
Oh gosh, you're right. He was.
How many kids does Johnny have?
Two. Andrew.
Yeah.
And
two big boys.
Yeah. I tell you what, if Andrew had not hurt his knee in junior high, he would have been a real good football player. And you know, David went on and played at Alabama. And
yeah, David's got a national championship ring from 2009.
But what I was trying to say is South Carolina and Troy go at it right after they have played, South Carolina. Well, actually, yeah. Well.
So South Carolina is playing Appalachian State and Troy. They're playing two Sun Belt Conference teams.
I don't see that on my schedule. I got Eastern Illinois, Eastern Carolina, Georgia, Kentucky, Troy, Tennessee, Vanderbilt. I don't see it on the South Carolina.
Maybe they don't play them.
They play on the 11th. I've got them on the 11th against East Carolina.
East Carolina.
Then Troy plays them on the
2nd of October.
2nd of October. So those are two pretty good games against South Carolina, and I think they might end up losing both of them.
Here's what I'm looking at. Look at South Carolina's schedule this year. They play Eastern Illinois, East Carolina, and Troy.
Yeah.
That's three of your lower tier programs, mid-major type programs.
Yeah.
My point I keep harping on is 8-10 years from now, South Carolina is not going to be playing three teams like that. They might be playing one.
Maybe one.
Yeah. So your scheduling slots are going to become much smaller, which means those $1.2 million paydays we now take for granted aren't going to be happening.
Exactly. In fact, they'll be
But
back.
I mean, is it the end of the world if you get one big guy, like say you get one SEC game and then you play a UAB or Southern Miss or a Memphis or a Liberty? It wouldn't bother me that much.
Well, that's what you got this year for Troy.
But I don't think you're going to be able to get that one SEC game in the future.
They would probably have to play one.
I mean, that's just not.
Every coach would fight for a tune-up game to start a season.
Yeah.
Well, here, look at it this way.
That one weekend when you play a non-power 5.
You got 14 SEC teams, and they're going to have one slot where they could play a team like Troy. So there's going to be 14 scheduling slots that probably 65 group of 5 type teams are fighting over to get one of those 14 slots. A couple of them will get them, but probably most of them won't. I mean, so in other words, your big game, where in the past was an SEC game, it might be Houston, your biggest game, or Tulane, somebody like that.
Yeah. Of course.
Alabama is scheduled now. Can you believe they did this? Tennessee is going to be their homecoming opponent this year. That's how much respect they have for Tennessee.
Is that the third week in September? October, third week in October? Yeah.
October, I know. But they had all these meaningless games that could have been homecoming, but instead they said, we'll just make Tennessee our homecoming opponent.
Yeah. Alabama was named the best college sports program by CBS. They announced that Monday. Oklahoma and Iowa rounded out the top 3. Alabama's the first SEC team to win the award.
Oklahoma and who?
Oklahoma and Iowa.
Iowa, where did they
rounded
come
out
from?
the top 3.
What did Iowa do?
I know it. Other than wrestle,
This is
they're a wrestling team,
best college sports program by CBS Sports.
Who is 4th and 5th?
I don't know about 4th and 5th, but Ohio State's the only 2-time winner. They did release that if Michigan and UCLA, if they had played more football games, they would have been probably in the top 3. Yeah. And the Wolverines could have finished runner-up if they had made a bowl game. But Alabama named the best college sports program.
I'm probably the only person, but 21. I look at all-time wins of college football teams. I'm into history, and Alabama only trails Michigan in that category. It gets iffy because the NCAA took away 30 Alabama victories vacated it or made Alabama forfeit them. So it's, do you count the games on the field or do you go by the NCAA's number? But even with the official numbers, Alabama closed the gap with Michigan big time last year. Alabama won 13 games. I think Michigan won 3, 4.
I tell you,
so they closed the gap by 10.
One of the biggest surprises is what's happened to Michigan, and their coach. Of course, his brother. I don't know which one you think the best coach, but his brother coaches in the pros. But how in the world would you have expected him to be such a would you say falter many times?
Not live up to expectations.
I know it.
Well, he was great with the 49ers. He was great with Stanford. I mean,
and everybody thought he was the best coach out there. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, Michigan State landed Antonio Gates Jr.
Yeah.
He was a son of the NFL tight end Antonio Gates.
Yeah.
He picked Michigan State over Florida, Penn State, Kentucky, and Tennessee. And also another thing as it relates to college football, the athletic director at Missouri has resigned. Jim Sturk is resigning. He'll stay on until they hire a new one. Missouri lost their he's been the athletic director since 2016, and he replaced Mack Rhodes, who left for Baylor. So Missouri is looking for a new athletic director.
Also, Carlton Martial is named to the Buckus Award list. There's going to be 51 players that are nominated to be on the Buckus Award list. Marshall's got recently named the number 41 player in the entire country by Pro Football Focus. He now has this going into the season. He's number 41 player in the country, Pro Football Focus All-American second team, Chuck McNair Award watch list, and now Bucket Award watch list.
Awesome.
He might.
Should we just go ahead and put him in the Troy Hall of Fame before he graduates?
Well, I'm gonna say I'm gonna use the word decorated. He's actually become the most decorated player in Troy history with all the acclimates he's gotten at linebacker at Troy.
He doesn't need to have a letdown this senior year, though. Finish strong.
Yeah. The crazy thing is because of his size, though, will he be drafted? Will he make the decision to come back and play the extra year?
You know what? They got him
listed as a junior, even though technically he should be a senior, because everybody gets last year back.
Yeah.
But it's going to be real interesting to see if an NFL team will take a shot on him.
Mike, they probably would look at him as a strong safety. Probably more than.
Is he fast?
Maybe. I mean, I know he'd be a great special teams guy for sure.
Yeah.
He'll play in the pros. There's no doubt about it. He's just too good.
And not since the great one, Mike, who came to Troy and as a walk-on quarterback. You remember him? Bear Woods. And did you ever see him play, Bryce?
Yes, he was really good.
I tell you, I don't know if we've ever had a guy that played harder than Bear Woods.
And he was more of a colorful character,
too. The other kid out of Mobile was really good, Anthony Rabb.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
I'll tell you another one. Do you remember the guy who's now a veterinarian and was working in the Troy area? I don't know if he's still doing it. I know he's a doctor of veterinary medicine.
Tim Tucker?
No, keep going.
But he was a great one.
He was a great one. Mike, you remember this guy? He ran down on kicks all the time. It was so good.
I'm trying to think. I mean, was he a starter? Or
No. He just covered kicks. And of course he was a backup linebacker
at Auburn,
at Troy.
Oh.
That's hard to figure. You know the starters more than the
but he was a good one though. Special teams. I was trying to remember his name. What's that?
There's a guy that Marshall's very similar to, with Sam Mills, who started for the Saints at linebacker for several years and then played for the Carolina Panthers. Played about 12 years. He was around 5'9". About 225, and Marsh is around 5'9", about 220.
What about Singletary? How big a fellow was he?
Yeah, Singletary's only like 5'11", 5'10".
And boy, he was a hitter. But I'll tell you another
Tom
one.
Jackson that's on ESPN for so long, wasn't he? He won that tall.
All right, y'all remember this name was Larry Wilson. Is that right? Larry Wilson, the strong safety for the St. Louis Cardinals for all those years. Yeah, I think he was 5'8", or something like that.
What about Tommy Nobis for the Falcons?
Oh, well, Nobis was a pretty good linebacker from Texas, and
played at Atlanta.
You know, I would think that
linebackers.
with the way the game's changed and there's so much of the tackling is in open space, and then you got to have linebackers that can cover passes too, that, you know, size and height wouldn't be as important.
How fast do you think Marshall is? That'd be a good question to ask a coach. I wonder if he's a 4'5", 4'6" guy.
Well, how would you like to tackle Derrick Henry?
I was, I tell you, I was looking. You're exactly right.
I tell you what, the Ravens tackled him in the playoff game last year. He got like 40 yards against them in the playoffs.
You know, he's not the type of runner though that'll lower his head or do like Herschel Walker or Earl Campbell or Bo Jackson, and he just.
That's why I think the Titans are going to be one of the teams to beat. You got Julio now. You got a dominant wide receiver with A.J. Brown, who's another great receiver, and then you got Henry. That's just going to open it up so much more for the Titans. That's going to be an unbelievable team to watch next year in the pros.
Yeah.
Well, one of Phil Steele's favorite, and Auburn plays them, is Penn State. Phil Steele thinks Penn State is going to be awesome this year. And I don't.
Man, they started the season last year, 0-4? They really were awful last year.
Yeah, but he really likes them, and he's their most improved team, he says. And then I know Auburn goes up there. That's going to be quite a game for Auburn, I think.
Great series. That's another thing that's happening in college football is all these teams are now scheduling prestige home and home series. Auburn versus Penn State being one of them.
Is that
Texas? Doesn't Alabama and Texas play next year?
Texas have a 2-game series.
Does that start next year?
I think it does. I think it does.
I think so. Out there.
But that also takes away scheduling slots available for the Sun Belt type teams as well.
Well, I know Troy University, a lot of their schedules they have already set to like 2027 or 2028. So if this issue is going to become a big issue in 2025, it's whoever you have after 2025 is you need to start doing some wheeling and dealing. Hey,
so we should be okay for 4 more years because, like you say, these games are locked in. I guess you can break the contracts, but we got contracts to play these good teams.
Troy University.
It'll be interesting to see in 1AA if any of these teams will try to make a jump here in the next year or so, thinking that this will be their last chance.
But you'd also say that we're making a jump, and then we're just going to be making a jump to a division where it's going to be a second-tier division in 5 years. So that's what we're heading towards. I guarantee you.
It'll be similar to like Troy. I mean, not like Troy never won a 1AA national championship, but I mean, I don't know what the Power 5 conference would be called. All the Power 5 members, and then you'd have the Troys. I don't know what that would be called, but and then I think you still have your 1AA and your Division 2 and Division 3.
But it's like you said, at least you would have, say, the 65 teams that aren't in the big boy. John Longshore calls it the big boy league. If you're not in the big boy league, well, at least you could win some kind of national championship in the smaller boy league.
Well, in 1AA, do they play a total of 15 games if you win it all? Do they play 10 regular season games or 11?
They play 11.
They play 11, then they have 16 teams in the.
So they have 15 games. Yeah.
So if you win 15 games, you win it all.
I think in Division 2 they have 24 teams that are in the playoffs now.
I was talking about this recently. Back then in Division 2, every Thanksgiving we just went ahead and just checked that had been a football Saturday. And then, we always were good in the in the playoffs. And then
But the playoffs happen after school is out for the Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and it was fun, yeah.
But it also, I think it hurt Troy a couple of times because the students weren't there.
That's right.
You remember that heartbreaking loss to Georgia Southern?
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
It might have been one of the best Troy Division I AA teams we ever had. Lost the heartbreaker to Georgia Southern, but I remember that game was played in front of a small crowd because, one reason being the students weren't there.
Yeah. But,
what I always remember about that, if that wouldn't have been intercepted, we were going to kick a chip shot field goal from about 18 yards out to go to overtime.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you all this. If I look like I'm turned out to be a cornbread and cut corn and fresh peas, I have eaten this weekend twice, Saturday and Sunday, at Red's little schoolhouse. And ladies and gentlemen, they had on their buffet, they had fresh cut corn and fresh shelled peas and fresh shelled small.
I would have driven up 2.5 hours.
And those small butter beans, fresh
I bet
butter
they would
beans.
advertise on the show.
Fresh okra, slimy okra, what I call it,
Mm-hmm.
And hey, listen, and I ate one meal and got another one to go. So I've been eating them.
Is Red still cutting hair?
No, but he cut hair for over 50 years at the Montgomery Country Club.
It's expensive when I go to church. I don't go to church every Sunday like I should. But when I do, I say, well, let's go ahead and get Sunday dinner. So after church Sunday, Maggie we wanted to go to Julia's. Sisters isn't open on Sunday anymore.
No, that's right.
This is depressing.
Wow, when did that happen?
Go to the barn.
COVID.
Yeah,
go to the barn.
So, but then Maggie voted for Ruby Tuesdays, and so that's where we ended up. But on my way to Ruby Tuesdays, it hit me. I said, "Man, we ought to go to Red Schoolhouse Restaurant." But I was outvoted, and it was too late.
And then, of course, they've got pulley bones, that are delicious.
Oh, man.
And then that fried cornbread.
It's the greatest Sunday buffet in the history of Sunday buffets.
And then, I didn't mention barbecue and all that, but I just went straight for the corn and the peas and those small butter beans that are so good.
No, I want to share an anecdote about Sunday dinner and dining out. A couple of weeks ago, maybe it was on 4th of July weekend, we tried to get Sunday dinner and it just couldn't get any place that was open, or the places that were open were overflowing because there was this shortness of help. Mm-hmm. Well, that seems to be remedied. I mean, we went to Ruby Tuesdays and they said 40-minute wait, low number of staff. Skip forward to this past Sunday, they had a ton of workers, no wait. You know what that is?
$200 signing bonus.
That's supply and demand. The restaurants are suddenly paying their workers more and then giving them these bonuses, and lo and behold, you suddenly don't have a shortage of.
Well, a lot of the college kids are coming back in town
every
too.
place down here is paying $15 an hour. You can see it outside the door.
Yeah. Well, and of course, what's my buddy's name at Ruby Tuesday, Mike?
Ruby Tuesdays, you talking about Animal?
Animal, yeah, Animal. well, yeah, I call him Animal, but he's Ronnie, or what is it?
Eddie.
What?
Eddie.
Eddie is the guy that runs it, and a great guy, Eddie.
His crew did a good job Sunday. Our service was outstanding.
Good. Did you get that salad bar?
Is his last name Skaggs?
Yeah, man.
It's not Skaggs. Is his last name Skaggs?
I don't know. If Eddie.
Eddie was the head equipment manager at Troy.
Okay.
Eddie.
Okay.
Well, I'll tell you that two kids getting from the children's menu, me and Carrie, it was $69 with tax, and I gave the guy a $10 tip because he gave us such great service. So to dine out for four, it was $79.
Yeah. Well, what do you pay?
The barn restaurant.
Everything is expensive. My entree I got was $21. So the side of it's good for these workers getting these pay raises, but these pay raises are being passed on to the customers. So our tickets are food inflation is.
But your children, what did you have to pay for their meals?
I didn't look at it closely, but I mean they got from the children's menu, chicken nuggets, and Maggie got pasta.
Put a roasted potatoes and carrots in the oven before you leave. It'll be fine.
I got to believe 25 years ago today, the Olympic Park bombing happened. Eric Rudolph bombed the Atlanta Summer Olympics. I was actually there listening to that band play in Centennial Park. Mom and Dad were so worried. The next day, they drove to Atlanta.
That's right.
I remember we met downtown for lunch and hung out because everybody was like scared to death about what might happen next. That's hard to believe. I was 20 years old and I worked at the Olympics.
That was one of the biggest manhunts in the United States history, and they still couldn't find that guy. They just got lucky when they found him.
He did. He eluded
them. He was the same guy that bombed the abortion place.
But he went up in the woods, and for some reason, they was an all unbelievable manhunt for him, and they never did catch him until one got lucky. They caught him.
He was dumpster diving.
That's right.
He was trying to find food.
That's right, and they caught him doing that one night. They thought it was just a routine arrest, but it turned out to be the guy that did the bombing.
You remember the Beltway snipers that killed so many people?
They killed the lady in Montgomery.
It was.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was Roman Harper's aunt.
Wasn't it?
Sure was, and that was only about a quarter mile from my house where I lived in Montgomery. But they eventually got the lead that allowed them to capture those people based on that murder on Zelda Road in Montgomery. They parked across the street.
There was a foot chase. They tried to run him down, but they couldn't catch him.
They almost got him in Montgomery. I think he escaped in one of those little drainage ditches that run through Montgomery canals, kind of drainage canals.
Yeah.
But those two guys.
But one of them was just a kid. Yeah, that's right. One of them just a kid. He probably didn't even know what was going on. Probably.
When I just read, they executed the adult. The teen, they didn't.
Yeah, the kid that's still alive is John Lee Malbec.
And what I just read is that that man and that teen were boyfriend and boyfriend. I never knew that.
Well, the crazy thing is they cut a hole through the trunk, and they had a hole where he was a sniper, and he was shooting out of the trunk.
Yep.
So there was nobody that you could see. I mean, it was just crazy that they were able to do that.
It was tragic, but yeah, Roman Harper's aunt, she worked at the state store on Zelda Road, and I think she was just locking up and going home after the night. And
Harper's brother Ronald Harper played linebacker at Troy. He was on the team that beat Missouri that night.
That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah. He was a good player. Wonder how he's doing.
Rudolph, acted alone in that. Of course, Clint Eastwood did a movie about it because they charged Richard Jewell. You remember the security guard?
They had
Richard Jewell.
They did the bombing.
They had the wrong guy, focused on the wrong guy for all along.
According to what I'm reading,
hard to believe. That's 25 years ago. That means I was 20 years old when I was over there working for Haynes and Champion.
Yeah, that was tragic. I mean, after all the build-up and the excitement of Atlanta having the Olympics right there at the beginning, you had that happen. I think they briefly considered canceling the games.
Oh, I'm sure.
Thankfully, they didn't.
I was reading up a little bit on South Carolina. We were talking about them. Of course, Troy plays them on the 2nd of October at South Carolina. But they have gotten several transfers. One of them was a quarterback named Jason Brown, and we were talking about their I think they have two, maybe three transfers to try to play quarterback. Then they've got the wide receiver named E.J. Jenkins that some people think is the best receiver in the country. So they're going to be better than we think they are, it looks like. They got Kevin Harris is their running back. He rushed for 1,300 yards last year.
And they got Coach Frank Beamer's son.
They got
Shane
Beamer. You reckon they'll be playing Beamer ball? And what I've heard, ladies and gentlemen, when this kid got, I don't know if it had anything to do with it, but when South Carolina hired Shane Beamer, they got his daddy free. They got him free.
Well, they'll play at Georgia the third game.
And of course, his daddy's one of the great coaches of all time.
You know, but those Virginia Tech teams fell off in his latter years of Coach Beamer.
But he was always blocking kicks or doing something. He was the special teams coach. You know, he could do a lot of things for a team.
God, they beat the slap out of Alabama one time.
But Beamer ball coming to South Carolina, that ought to be fun when we travel up there on the 2nd.
I've read that some magazines Beamer, they say, has a great personality. He's real good with the alumni and the media. You know, he's been grooming to be a head coach since he was a teenager, probably. And they say his personality is quite a contrast to the guy who replaced, what's his name?
Well, you know, you look at South Carolina.
Will, thank you.
Yeah, after they play Georgia, they play Kentucky, Troy, Tennessee, Vanderbilt. You know, South Carolina may come out with just one loss.
Yeah, they could run that table, couldn't they?
They could. Those first.
Yeah, you're right.
7 games.
They should beat Eastern Illinois. They should beat East Carolina. They'll lose to Georgia, but they could beat Kentucky, Troy, Tennessee, and Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
So that would put them at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6-1.
6-1 possibly.
Then they're going to lose to Texas A&M. They're going to lose to Florida. They're probably going to lose to Missouri. They're going to lose to Auburn. They're going to lose to Clemson. So they're going to lose their. They're going to be 6-1, and then they're going to lose their next 5. Bet on it.
6-6.
I mean, the biggest question is who's Troy's quarterback going to be?
There we go.
We got to figure out who the quarterback's going to be.
We'll know Saturday when they dress out.
We lost our best receiver. Went to Texas Tech, didn't he?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Geiger left, and then
who's gonna fill those shoes?
Georgia left too. That's been there for so many years. I'm drawing a blank on his name, but he was a big time.
But I think they've got some transfer.
Where's he going? This guy.
He just I think just kind of gave up football.
Well, at least we got the kid that transferred from Mississippi State. He's good.
Who is that?
Yeah, well, this is now Reggie Todd's 3rd year at Troy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
the big tall receiver that we talked to at Bird Drugs.
They got Eford's the kid that
that's right.
Originally coming back and decided not to come back, and he had some injury issues, but he was a great deep threat.
Yeah. But, of course, it all starts not this next Saturday. They'll be dressed out and ready to go in shorts and helmets. And this is my favorite time of the year is when they first get there.
I bet you go watch them practice, don't you?
Yeah, I love to go watch them practice. I'll walk around the
I'll tell you what,
practice
man, this is not my favorite time of the year with the heat right now. Man, it is brutal.
But now these guys, though, they work out in it every day. They're already just in preseason warm-ups. They're getting used to the hot weather.
When we did our Sunday afternoon ride-around, I pointed out to my troop that look how pretty the grass looks at the Troy practice fields.
That's right.
It's because we're getting this rain about every day.
Yeah.
The practice fields and the grass look as pretty as they've ever looked.
Well, Troy University has a new soccer coach. I wanted to mention that.
Yeah.
Her name is Nicole Waters. Ged O'Connor left earlier in the month. She's the interim soccer coach, and they will open up Friday, August the 20th against Nicholls State. They will host Nicholls State at home. And
wow, bless her heart. So she's an interim coach. Like she just got named, and they start on the 28th.
Right. Well, that's the first game on the 20th of August, and she's a native of Terracotta, Ontario, Canada. She's been on staff, but since he left just within the past month, this Ged O'Connor, the new head coach, is Nicole Waters, and after the season, they're going to have a national search for a new soccer coach, according to the article.
I think a lot of those soccer players are international athletes.
There's a plethora.
Well, I know all the tennis players probably are.
Golf.
You know, I was talking to Mike the other day about Troy's running backs, and let me just say this: if Jimmy Valdeo, the freshman running back at Troy.
His name's Kamani Valdeo.
Yeah. But if you'll notice on the way they got him written up, he's a freshman. And you're right, all of these guys that played last year are now freshmen, have 4 more years. Isn't that right?
If they choose it, if they choose to play.
4 more years. And the thing, that's what makes the unreal thing at Auburn is, their quarterback is just a sophomore. He's got 3 more years.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Alabama's quarterback is a freshman.
Yeah, but I would think Auburn's quarterback.
He's gonna be worth about $5 million and go to the pros when he's a junior.
Yeah, he'll be a millionaire by the time he goes to the pros.
Yeah. Look out for Indiana.
What's going to happen if this guy is a millionaire and then his offensive linemen are making maybe $4,000? There's going to be definitely some jealousy.
Yeah, I was wondering. You reckon he's allowed
to? I guess maybe he could just take him out to dinner.
And that's what people are saying. Is they're gonna have to share
throughout the season.
They're gonna have to share some of the love.
Do you think this guy will be
a Rolex watch?
Yeah. Do you think he's going to be able to wear a Rolex watch and drive a Mercedes convertible?
Yes.
You think they'll let him do that?
Well, Saban said he's got a deal that's close to 7 figures. Others have said he was inflating that big time. But let's say it's not close to 7 figures, but let's say it's $300,000. You can buy a Rolex watch and a nice car for $300,000.
Oh boy!
Yeah. All your other stuff's already paid for by the university, so it goes right into your pocket.
I wonder if they still get their Pell Grants and their cost of living stipend too. So I guess they do. These players are doing very well.
Yeah.
You know what I've always.
Can you imagine between like Tua and Tebow, they probably would have made $2 million a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
But you know what I've thought, and I don't like this name, image, and likeness. I think it's going to hurt the game for the reasons y'all are talking about, jealousy, and make it tougher to coach these kids.
Boosters getting back involved too much. But who knows what tomorrow brings?
I mean, it's going to be interesting. Will any Troy player receive any money? What do you think? You think anybody's going to go after Marshall or any of Troy's players?
No, that's another point I've made is that if you're Najee Harris or Bryce Young, you're going to do great. But if you're a player in the Sun Belt in a small town, I don't see yourself getting any endorsement deals.
Here's the thought. Say University of Alabama. How many athletes do they have in all sports? 500?
Probably.
Maybe?
Yeah.
All right. So your athletic staff is going to have to grow because the compliance committee of your university, all those athletes have to report those earnings to the university compliance office.
Yeah.
And so someone's got to be very legal, knowledgeable. Here's, all those kids going to have to hire tax experts. They're going to have to.
They literally got agents already, and you assume that the agent is getting his 10% or whatever it is. Plus, you're getting the accountants. They got to take out taxes,
but the university's going to have to hire brand new staff, and it's not going to be just one person who's going to have to figure this stuff out.
Everybody's wanting to be like showing off on television now, so they're going to be like constant celebration ponies, probably when people score touchdowns or interceptions.
Well, here's what's coming. Saban.
Everybody's going to want to put on a routine for those endorsements, that say like, look at this guy do this, look at this guy do that.
They're going to be thinking about their endorsement deals.
TV shows.
Playing. Saban mentioned this at the coaches conference in Texas when he made the Bryce Young 7-figure comment that got all the headlines. He said that some player who I also hadn't heard, has signed a deal, and he came to Coach Saban and said, Coach, I got to go do something for my sponsor, do some gig. Can I miss this workout?
No.
And Saban nipped that in the bud. He said, I can't set a precedent, young man. I mean, if you were, would I let you go home if you wanted to roof your uncle's house to make some extra money? But don't you see that happening? These players are going to be saying, well, man, I got to do so-and-so and so-and-so.
I'd hit a button that plays Ray Charles. Hit the road, Jack. But don't you come back no more.
Makes you wonder if the NCAA will maybe grant kids being able to go now after their sophomore years to the pros as well.
Oh God, that'll be even.
Because you're gonna have a lot of kids that are gonna start getting that money, and then they're just gonna be like, man, I'm really ready to just go to the NFL now. I'm already got money financially. Why risk it in college?
Yeah, why do I got to study for this this econ test?
All right. The next thing that's going to be a factor is going to be for example, the Alabama High School Athletic Association. If you got this kid who's a senior right now, who's going to be a superstar, just say Kool-Aid McKinstry was a senior this year at his high school. Mm-hmm. And there's people approaching him to sign deals now because they know he's going to go to Alabama. Yeah. Yeah. So what are these seniors in high school? There are people approaching. Mm-hmm. They're being approached now by clients.
What is the IMG Academy doing? They're doing the exact same thing. They're approaching them, fronting them an education for a year or two with, here's the quid pro quo. Now, when you sign that big contract in the NFL, we're going to represent you, right? Oh, yes, sir. Yeah, y'all got my business.
I'll tell you what a big difference it is. Alabama, out of the top 20 incoming recruits, Alabama had 10 of them. Can you believe that? I know. In the whole country, Alabama had 10 of the best.
They're going to have shoe deals and apparel deals in college.
Well, that's why Saban made the comment about Bryce Young. He's signaling the signal to these top 100 recruits. You come to Alabama, yes, you'll probably win a national championship or two. Yes, you'll go to the NFL. But 3, you're going to make 6 figures income where you're not going to make $20 if you play at Troy on the NIL deal.
That superstar at Oregon, he signed a deal with Nike and the best shoe designer in the country. It's this big defensive end or linebacker who will probably go number 1 in the NFL draft this year or upcoming year. So Oregon
he signed a deal with
Nike and the top shoe designer in the country.
That Nike founder,
they're going to get folks.
What's his name? Mike. He's been pumping tens of millions of dollars into Oregon football for decades. Mm-hmm. Now he doesn't. I mean, they were using that money to build facilities. Now he can just directly give it to the players.
Oregon might be number 1 in recruiting when it's over with.
The world's worst looking uniforms of all time.
Yeah, we used to talk about that a lot. Everybody was throwing up because of the uniforms they were wearing. But ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed our show today. And of course, Bill Rice and my good friend Forrest Lee and Mike calling in from Great Beach this morning. And we'll be here again tomorrow morning for Today in LA. Have a great one.
Have a great day.
This is my chart from Southeast Health.
And you're going to want to make it yours.
Not because it's free,
but because it's priceless. Because with my chart, you can schedule appointments online with your provider.
You can email your provider and get answers.
Get test results.
Refill prescriptions.
And manage your family's health care. You know how we all want health care to be easier?
But